Today we're here opening our new campaign headquarters and in this grand old building with a bright future. And so this is a good time to talk about the future of Elkhart. This is a resilient city. We have experienced 20% unemployment with the Great Recession, and the comeback that we have staged after that is truly remarkable. But we've allowed our recent past to kind of define our future, and we have fallen behind other cities in the county, in the state, in the region, and the nation. And as we recover, you kind of get this sentiment that folks say that that's good enough. That is okay, we've recovered. And I'm here to tell you that it's not good enough. And I think that everyone here today is also here to say that same thing, that it is not good enough. And I'm not going to bore you with points of data here, but just indulge me for a minute. I am the candidate, for crying out loud. So, two things. Elkhart's poverty rate in the year 2000, the percentage of residents that lived in poverty in Elkhart in 2000 was 13%. By 2013, that had escalated to 29%.
Oh my goodness.
Almost a third of residents in the city of Elkhart were under the poverty line in the year 2013, from 13% to 29% in 13 years. Obviously, a little bit more than a little bit disconcerting. Also, since 2000, Elkhart has lost 0.5% of our residents, our population base, in the last 13 years. And this is in comparison to the city of Goshen, which is actually up 8% in that time period, and Elkhart County is up 9% in that time period. So just think about that. We have lost 0.5%. Another city in this county is up 8%. The county as a whole is up 9%, while we have actually lost population in that period of time. We were obviously all injured in many ways as a result of the Great Recession, but Goshen and Elkhart County seem to have managed to add residents during this time, while we have managed to lose them. You don't need to be a data nerd like me to know that we cannot allow to have this city shrink in population. We can do better. The Boecher administration is going to focus on three main areas of priority. Number one is encouraging small business and entrepreneurship. The second is addressing public safety in all areas of our city. And number three is encouraging strong neighborhoods. With regards to economic development, we've come to accept Elkhart's role as the low-wage capital of the Midwest. We need to build an economic environment that allows us to keep the gray and white-collar jobs that we already have here, and while working to attract more employers that offer a true living wage. I'm a Main Street guy, everyone knows that. I love the benches, I love the lighting, I love the flowers, I love all the streetscaping that we've done as an example of infrastructure improvements on behalf of the city. I'm going to propose that how about we invest in a different type of infrastructure by providing high-speed internet access for all businesses and residents that live in downtown and perhaps even the rest of the city. This is the first thing that technology-based companies look for when they're considering relocating or expanding in an area, and we don't have it. That's part of the new infrastructure that I would make a priority. It's also an example of our approach to economic development, that every dollar that we would spend from a public standpoint to encourage economic development would always be framed in what is the likelihood of this generating private investment as a result of that public investment. So the whole point of making those improvements is to increase the quality of life, obviously for all residents, but also to encourage further private investment as a result. We also must do more to encourage entrepreneurship. As a city, we need an approach that says, regardless of your background, ethnicity, or education, we want you to develop your next cool idea here in Elkhart. I'm convinced that we're much more likely to find the next Dr. Miles or Art Decio within our midst currently. We need to provide that environment that nurtures them, that encourages them to say, no matter how weird you are, if you've got a good idea, we're going to find a home for you here.
We embrace you.
That we embrace you. Thank you, Julie. And I'm convinced that we're much more likely to grow that next generation of entrepreneur that will create that company that will provide those hundreds or thousands of jobs than we are to attract a Pfizer Pharmaceutical or Apple Computer. And this aggressive economic development plan will be focused on encouraging new private investment and growth within our current city borders. We've wasted far too much time, energy, and resources on fighting for annexation. We have underdeveloped land and undeveloped land, both residential and commercial, in all areas of the city. We need to create a plan that develops those areas, and that should be our first priority, as opposed to seeking to expand our physical borders. This is the 21st century. We have the 21st century economy. It's a new economy. We cannot offer economic development incentives from the 1990s and expect to be competitive in this regional environment. When it comes to economic development, we can do better. We've also come to accept that there's certain parts of Elkhart that are going to have a higher level of violent crime than others. As long as it doesn't affect my neighborhood, that's okay. But no matter where it occurs, crime affects every neighborhood. It shatters lives, saps our financial resources, and hurts our ability to attract new investment and to retain investment. We need to encourage a partnership between neighborhoods, law enforcement, and City Hall to improve safety in every part of this city. We would do an assessment of the city on a neighborhood by neighborhood basis. We would identify the assets in those individual neighborhoods. The churches and neighborhood groups, private business, schools, and engaged citizens would all be sought out and engaged to create the plan that would, one, identify the challenges that are present in that neighborhood, and then to create the plan to address those challenges. This is a bottom-up, it's got to be more of a grassroots, fundamental type approach that we have to public safety than a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter approach that we seem to be able to employ because it's easy to understand and people get it. So that is the approach that we are going to change. State of the Union address, what am I doing here? Democrat. So thank you for your support, Julia. This would be true community policing and would require accountability to those who created the strategy to ensure that the strategy is having the desired effect. So we can do better when it comes to public safety. And finally, we've come to accept that there are some Elkhart neighborhoods that are beyond hope. They're struggling, but they don't exist in isolation. When one neighborhood struggles, the entire city suffers. Everyone in Elkhart deserves to live in a clean, safe, and vibrant neighborhood because it makes us a stronger city as a whole. We haven't provided for every neighborhood at the same level. When it comes to infrastructure, you can go to various parts of Elkhart and see that City Hall has not provided a uniform standard of development. And the question is, why not? And at the same time, there's the issue of abandoned and blighted property. We've got to be able to say, if you've abandoned your property and let it go, whether you're an investment property owner or a homeowner, we're going to hold you to account. We're not going to let your derelict property hurt the fabric that's present in our neighborhoods, nor the property values that are there. We also need to address the adversarial relationship between investment property owners and City Hall. We need to pursue aggressive and fair code enforcement. If you're a derelict, if you're a slumlord, we're going to hit you with everything we have. But if you're a homeowner or you're an investor trying to provide well for your tenants, we're going to work with you and ensure that we have policies to encourage more investment and not less. This approach promotes clean, stable, and vibrant neighborhoods and investment. Elkhart will grow, Elkhart will not grow, wages will not increase, and children will not escape poverty without private investment, particularly in housing. We need a broader spectrum of housing choices in order to encourage city growth. Everything from starter homes and affordable rentals to houses appealing to white-collar professionals moving here to put down roots. But that won't happen without city housing policies to encourage investment. We can do better. We can do more to grow the economy, improve public safety, and encourage vibrant neighborhoods. But we can also do better when it comes to politics. We've all grown weary of the deep factions that have formed in all parts of City Hall. It is time to set aside partisan bickering and create an environment that instills trust and professionalism at all levels.